But what we've also got is we've got these categories here. We've got search for funding, browse for funding, help and advice, and view local successes. Um, we've also got a quick search at the top as well. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start off in a real easy way. If I was a person that wasn't comfortable using computers and things like that, how could I quickly get into funding information? So the way that we've designed this portal is so that it makes for very easy use. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into browse funding. And what we've now got is some very engaging images. And this allows you to just scroll down and just define your organization type. And I'm just going to scroll down just to show you those different categories that we've got there. So if I wanted to go and have a look, let's say a voluntary action, I'm going to click on the arrows there. And all I'm going to do with this process is click the arrows. I'm not having to put any additional information in. So I said what type of organization I am. It's now just asking me, okay, well, what's your project focus? So I could go on this occasion, it might be, I want to look at maybe arts, culture and heritage as an example. And then it goes, okay, then. So you've asked, we know who you are, we know what your focus is. So based on that, we've got 82 arts projects, 35 culture and 61 heritage. So I might say, well, okay, then I'm going to go and have a look at the arts projects. And within those 3 clicks, I'm now into the results. And what's great about this portal is it's already defined to your location, to your area. So what it's going to do is pull the results through based on those simple 3 clicks. And it's going to provide you with local funding, regional, national, and even European funding. So we can see we've got the results there. Now, what we do is we present the results into a page of 10. And you can see there we've got different amounts coming from different organizations and so on. Now then, when you get your results, one of the key things to do is we've got 82. Now, what we really want you to do with this system is look to the right-hand side. And what we've got here is we've got these additional filters. Now, what this is going to do, it's going to help you narrow those results down, because to search through 82 could be quite a lengthy process. So what we need to do is refine it and make it be a bit more personalized. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, then let's just open some of these filters up. And the thing is with this system, you can't break it. But what I do want you to do is explore these filters, because it's going to help you save time. As you can see, we've got government, lottery, charitable and corporate. If you hover the mouse over, it will give you our definition, our interpretation of what we mean by that. Now, you might want to say, out of those 82, I just want to see the government funding. Click the government funding and then apply that filter. Actually, for me personally, I want to see all of the funding. I'm not fussed where it's coming from. But what I do want is I only want grants. So I'm definitely going to select that option. Then what I might do is go, well, I definitely want the local grants and the regional and the national, but I'm not someone that can maybe handle European programs, because they're very intense, very long-winded, and there's a lot of things that you need to put a European funding program together. So for me personally, on this particular search, I'm going to stick to just grants, local, regional, national, and then there's got a filter here which says filter by status. So what does this mean? Well, you can search for grants that are about to open, that are open, but you may also want to see the closed ones. Now, here's the thing with the closed schemes. And this kind of goes back to putting a successful bid together and your applications. This is the thing to bear in mind. Just because a grant may be closed, it doesn't mean to say it's not going to reopen. So you might think initially, I don't want to see any of the closed ones. What's the point? The point is that what if you go down this list and you came across a grant that actually ticked all of the boxes? It was exactly what you're looking for. The only thing is that it's closed right now. Personally, what I would do, I would go into that funding program. I'll show you how to do this, by the way, and scroll down to their details, their phone number, their email address, and I would get on the phone and I'd call them and I'd say something very, very simple. I'd say, I've come across your funding program. I'm aware that it's closed right now. However, can I ask you, is it likely to reopen anytime soon? And if they say, Tim, that's going to reopen again in January, brilliant. I've got all of the details. I can start preparing that opportunity for when it does open. So you need to make a decision. Do you want to view the closed schemes? You can always come back, by the way, and apply this filter. But for the purpose of speed, I'm just going to say future and open, and then I'm going to tick this box here, click this box, apply filter. Now, what that will do now is it will tidy up my results based on those parameters that I've just put in. Nice and simple, down the right-hand side. So we've gone from 81 and we've gone to 49. Now, there is one more filter that I'm going to use, and it's just in this where it says sort results by. So there are different options. You can put them in alphabetical order. You can put them in the type of funding that they are. But the one I choose is deadline. Now, I'll explain why I choose deadline. Deadline is going to mean the one at the top is going to be the one that's going to end the soonest. So when I go down this list now, I know that they'll go in date order. So we've got the 29th, we've got the 31st, and so on. We start to get a bit longer. So I know that the 29th is pushing it. I've got 2 days. That's pushing it. We've only just done the search, by the way. So it might be that might be a bit too soon, but at least I've got my search tidied up. Now, remember, at any point, you can always check and see what your criteria was, so we can have a look at that in a moment. So we've now got our results. We've narrowed it down to 49. You'll notice to the right, you've got this symbol here, which means updated. So what that means is fresh information has come in about that opportunity. Our researchers, and we've got 20 of them, by the way, and what they do is, as soon as we receive fresh information about a grant, we'll represent the opportunity with the update, so you know that that's right up to minute and up to speed. Okay, as I said, they are all put into a page of 10. We can go down those. So if I want to go into any of these grants, I can click into them, and what you've got is a very simplified, easy to read funding program. What do I mean by that? Well, in its original format, this grant would not be this simple. It could be 8, 9, 10 pages long. You would have to read through it. You'd have to take out all the nonsense, all the waffle, all the things you don't need. And then you might have even realized when you see the original version, actually that ended some time ago. So what our researchers do, they do an enormous amount of work to get this information to you that's up to minute and up to date, but also they completely rewrite it so that when you come to view it, it makes absolute sense. So when you look at any grant, whether it's a large grant or a small grant, whether it's complex, whether it's a European grant, it'll always be on one page. Everything you'll need is on one page. So you'll have a strap line of information along the top, the status, the amount, objectives of the fund, any valuable notes, is there any match funding required? So if you are looking for match funding for your crowdfunding and you need additional funding, then this will tell you that this will give you maybe 50% or someone like that. So if that information is available, we will put it on there. Also, who can apply? This will be one of the first places you come to. Check your eligibility. Also, it will tell you what you can't use the funding for. So there's no ambiguity. We know exactly what we can use it for, but also what we can't use it for. Then what we've got is eligible expenditure. We've got information about that fund in detail. We've also got how to apply. So is it online? Is it application form? And then below there, you've got all the useful documents and links associated to that opportunity. To the right hand side, we've got their details there. Often you will find a phone number, or you may have an email address to contact as well. So as you go into any of these grants and you go into them, I'm just going to click a few at random, it will become very, very familiar. You'll know what to expect. And in this occasion, not only is it telling you the objective of the fund, It's also telling you previous successes. So again, where that information is available, we will give it to you. And the reason why that can be important is because if you're a similar organization, you'll know actually, well, if they've secured funding, then surely an organization like mine, which is similar, could also apply. Again, we've got the details here, we've got phone numbers, we've got the email address, and again, how it's broken down, who can apply, the restrictions, it's all laid out very, very easy. Okay, so let's just go back to our search. Now, there's a few things we can do with the search as well. So you can save selected items. So if I like that one and I like that one, I can save those selected items and they will be in my folders, which I'll show you in a moment. So what we can do things like that. We can save the entire search as well. So if we want to save the search, we've used the filters and we're happy with the results, then what we can do is we can then save the search. We're going to give the search a name. So I'll just give this one, I'll just call this a test 4. And it's got there the option to receive email notifications. I'd strongly advise that you select that because what you want is that search to work for you in the background. What you don't need to be doing is going on and checking it and maintaining it. So what we're going to do is make that search work for us. So I've done that search. I've said, yes, I want to put the email notifications on, and I'm going to okay it. But what if I was doing a quick search and I forgot to put the email notification? Don't worry. So what we're going to do, we're going to okay that. Now, all of your searches, they go into an area called saved searches, which is just at the top right hand side there. And if you click on that, by the way, then what it'll do is it'll take you to all of your saved searches. Now you'll notice I've got 4. Now let's assume our test 4, you notice that I didn't put my email alert on, but let's say, oh, I forgot to do that. Just simply click on it and it'll enable it. If ever you want to go back and edit that search, you can go back, you can edit it, and you can go into the entire search. If you want to go back to the search, click on test 4 or whatever the search, and it takes you straight back with all of your filters in place. So what I'm going to do is just recap. Okay, this is extremely easy to use. So what we did is we went into the browser, I chose who I was, and again, I'll just do it a slightly different way. I'm going to choose a CIC in this occasion, and then going to select, in this case, children. So that's my second click. From there, all I'm going to do now is click into one of these. I'm going to click this one, support for young people, and I'm in. So 3 clicks and I'm in. All you need to do from that point on is utilize the filters down the right hand side. You can then save the search. Now, one more thing that you can do in this area before I move on to another way of searching is you can also produce reports. So if I click on that one, and let's say that one, I can go to produce report. Now then, I could give that a name. So I'm going to give that test, and I'll give it Tim. And I'm going to download those as a Word document. Alternatively, I could email those, but they must be people that are on the Ealing portal. Okay, so you couldn't email this externally. What you can do is download them as a Word document and go, okay, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then what I'm going to do then, I'm going to open that up, and you'll see there that I've created this report, and those funding opportunities are all in there, ready for me to disseminate out. Okay, so let me just get rid of that. Sorry, don't want that. Don't save. So back to our search. I'm going to get rid of that now. Now then, so sharing information and things like that is really simple. Now then, so that's a browser way, which is going into this section here. What if I wanted to put additional information in? Well, what we've also got is we've done the browser search. We're now going to do this search, which is search for funding. And this is where you can put a bit more additional information. And it's also where we can do, I'd say, 3 different types of searches. So you've got your browser way, we've done some searches in the browser way, and that's one of the ways you can do it. Well, now what we're going to do is do a slightly different way. So what if I wanted to search for a particular term or phrase? So if I wanted to look for any grants, and let's say older people, Now, what I could do is say older people, and I'm going to select who I am. So in this case, I'm going to say I'm a registered charity, and I'm just going to go, off you go. I'm going to keep it really, really simple. And I'm just going to go, off you go. And it's going to search the entire database. And what you'll notice this time is that key term or phrase is pulled through for older people. Okay, so one thing I need to just double check, I'm just going to go back and I'm going to make sure that I put exact phrase. So what you saw me do there is I put older people, but because I didn't choose exact phrase, it pulled through people and older. So now when we do it, now when we do this a different way, what it's going to do is pull through those results and it's going to make sure that it's got older people in. So now what we've got is our search based on older people. If I go into any of these funding programs, that key term or phrase is pulled through in the body of that funding program. Now, this is a really, really quick way to look for funding. All you need to do is type in some kind of key term. So if I put in disabilities, exact phrase, I'm going to look at this from a registered charity again, just to keep it simple. Off you go. And very, very quickly, it's going to give me the results based on what I've asked it to look for. Now, I have had some very, very strange requests. I've had people say, can I find a lawnmower? Can I find grants for an organ? Now, when you're looking for something outside of the box, maybe something a bit different, something where you don't really know where you're going to find it, this is a really good area that you can go into and look for those types of funding. So the keyword search is really, really useful. And as I said, you can use it for absolutely anything and anything. If you want to look for funding for anything and anything, it could be that you want a biomass boiler. It might be that you're looking for solar panels or something like that. You can just type it in here. It'll go and search it for you. Okay. This is a great area because you can do a search under a key term or phrase. And remember, whatever you do in this area, in the keyword search, you would save it and link it to your email address. I would probably say that I've got some funding officers that have probably got around about 20 different searches, all that they've created in the keyword search, and they're all linked directly back to them. Okay, got that one? Brilliant. And I'm going to show you something else you can do in the keyword area. Slightly different, but this is where I am now going to go and search different funding bodies. I want to see, let's say, what Comic Relief have got. So if I go into Comic Relief, okay, and I go into those and I say, off you go. And I say, go and show me any grants with the key term or phrase, Comic Relief. And you'll see there it's found 7 funding programs from Comic Relief. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to save it. I'm going to link it and I'm going to name it Comic Relief. Okay, then brilliant. Who else can give me funding? So I'm going to go out of there and I might say, okay, then I want to go into, let's say, Department of Culture, Media and Sport. That's a government department. Off you go. So I'll put the italics in there. So what we got there is our Department for Culture, Media and Sport. So I know they've got 17 funding programs right now. So I can scroll down those and I would save that, link it, name it that organization. But you can do this with all of your corporates, your ASDAs. If you want to put ASDA in there and go and say, what's ASDA got right now? You can see there they've got a couple of funding programs. But when they release any new ones, you want to know about it. So make sure you save it and you link it. So again, you can put in your Asda's, your Tesco's, you can put in your KFC's, you can put in all of these different types of organizations, and you can see these different community grants that are available in the UK. So this is another great area. This is another way of searching. This is by going through actual funding bodies and saying, what has that funding body got? If you want to put in Mayor of London, if you want to put Greater London Authority, you can type them in. It will do a search. It will retrieve any funding that they've got. Again, in this area, I could do 15, 20 searches quite easily. Percy Bilton's, Esme Fairburns, I can go into Ford, Barclays, I can do all of those different types of searches and they're all coming back to me. Now then, What you can also do, and this is a third way of searching, is you can go and do like a bit of a bit of a profile. So what we're going to do is going to do a profile search. So I'm going to say I'm a voluntary organisation. My area of work, I'm in disabilities. And that's just, you don't, the only one that's mandatory in this case, by the way, is the top one. All of the rest is entirely up to you if you want to use. You don't have to. What you're doing is just building a project, a profile of who you are, what you're doing, and what you're looking for. So it's also saying now, what is the focus of your funding? So I might go into here and I might say it's to do with healthcare and support. Okay, so are you looking to cover the cost for things? So you might go in and say, yes, I'm looking to pay for staff or the bills, or it could be for transport, you name it. Now, based upon that information, what you can do there is you can then go, okay, then off you go. Based on that information, what have you got? And so based on that, you can then say, I can say I've got 102 funding programs. If I want to check my criteria, you can see there, that's what I've put in. If I want to go back and edit that criteria, I can do it any time. But now what I would do is go, great, I'm now going to filter this. I'm going to narrow the results down, make it a bit more efficient. I'm going to say I'm only looking for local and regional, and I'm going to apply those filters. So it knows I want grants. I could even break it down and say, just show me government, lottery or charitable if I wanted to. I'm then going to put them into deadline order, tidy everything up. So now I'm down to 14. Now, that is exactly the way to use the system, by utilizing the filters. So the results are more akin to what it is that you're looking for. We can see we've got your corporates in there, your Fords. We've got local authorities in there as well. And so we've also got our charitable trusts and foundations as well. Okay, so nice and easy system. The great thing about this system is, and I've tried, you can't break it. Okay, what else have we got in this system? So what we've done there is we did a browser search, we did a profile search, we did multiple searches in this area as well. If you do get stuck, you've got help and advice. You've got the user guide here to help you. You've also got help about what government funding, lottery funding and trust funding is about, and also how about applying for funding and what things to keep an eye out for and so on. You've also got a news tab as well. So in the news tab, we're giving you all the latest news items that have come out in the month of October. So these are news announcements about funding. So this is definitely a nice area to look at, because this will keep you with the finger on the pulse, make you aware of what's come down the line this month. There may be things that have come down the line you're simply not aware of. You might go into one of these and go, what's that one there? Go and have a look. And it takes you straight through to that funding program. And then you can go and have a look at that grant, and then it takes you through. So again, these news items, sometimes they may just be a news item. It might be that they're just giving you the heads up. Government has announced £10 million into X, Y, and Z, and you can go, brilliant, I know there's something coming down the line. But some of these, like that one I've just selected, actually some of these are actual opportunities as well. So when you do go into some of these, not only is it a news item, but it actually might be the details for the grant as well. So really, really interesting. Again, go into this one. I'm going to go into that news item. What is it about? So in this case, this is just an announcement. I haven't got to the right any funds. So it's just a heads up. So bear that in mind. Okay. So let's just go back again. We've got help and advice, which I've just shown you. You've got the news administration as well. You've got your saved searches. Saved searches are all located in this tab here. So if you want to double check what you've saved, you can also save individual items as well. So I saved 3 items in this particular search. So rather than saving the entire search, I found 3 that I really did like, and I saved it. And if I want to come back to those 3 that I saved in a previous search, I've got those 3 ready, and then I can go and view them again. So it might be that on a Friday or something like that, you find some grants, you think, do you know what, I'm going to save them for Monday. And all you need to do is save those selected 3 into this save search area, and then you can come back to this area on a Monday and have a look at those. Okay, so nice and simple. Administration is for the administrators. That wouldn't be for you. And the other key area is this one here, which is funding success. When you are successful, it's really important to let us know of your success. And all you need to do is simply click into there, give us some information, where you got the funding from, how much did you acquire, and then you can submit that. And that informs the administrators that you've been successful, which is fantastic news for the administrators to hear that success. So really, really important. It's one of those systems that you do need to just play around with. You can't break it, but it is very, very simple. Don't be afraid of it. Lots of people will use these portals quite easily and have no problems at all. So with that, I'm going to attempt to stop sharing, and hopefully I've got the time right. And if yeah, is that okay for you, Yoka? Was that all right?
Oh, brilliant. In fact, I'd like to thank you for this presentation. It has made my life simple, and I'm sure it has for the rest of us who've joined us today. Any questions for Tim? Because is Dina here from Building Bridges? We were just looking at Fiona, just looking at if Dina was here from Building Bridges, if she'd like to share her experience on using the app. Okay, I think Dina hasn't been able to join us today, so we'll go forward with the questions for Tim on this. Fiona, you had your hand up. If you'd like to unmute, please.
Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Sorry, I missed the very beginning because of the doctor's appointment, but can I just ask one thing? The browser, I just didn't get how you get into this amazing thing. What's the actual, is it through Ealing Council? Sorry that everyone else already knows and I'm coming for this annoying question, but can Tim help?
Tim, would you like to go? It's just a link. I'll be sharing that link with you. You haven't missed too much. I'm so sorry I forgot to record the initial bit of the session, but I've covered Tim completely. So the session will be recorded and saved, and I'll send that to you post the session today. Any other questions for Tim?
Yeah, I had a question. It's Julia speaking here. Tim, thanks very much. It was very informative and really flowed very, very well. I was just a bit interested to find out, when you said like the Department of Culture and Media and Sports, is there a glossary for the other departments? So if I wanted to, or you just
it's unfortunate on that. What you're going to have to do is just simply start to, some of them you can just type in it's like Ministry of Housing. You can just put like MHSC, I think it is, and sometimes that will find it, and you can just search because obviously it's abbreviated. Sometimes you might just have to put Department of, so you can do Department of Health, Department of Transport, Department for Education. So it's worthy of just playing around with it. Some of them you can't put like the initials, and you can't just put Department for Education. Sometimes it doesn't find it. So you might have to write Department for Education, but then as soon as you do that, it will find it. With most of them, though, I think it is pretty savvy, but there isn't a glossary. You couldn't click down it and go. It's a shame. With the portals, it doesn't have that functionality, unfortunately. But it doesn't stop you still typing in that organization. And then everything that they've got right now is on there. So once you've done it, save it, link it. So as soon as they release anything, you'll be the first to know.
Thank you so much.
I think also if you put in maybe a keyword of what you're looking for, it might just help pull out any organizations that are related to it, because it would be good to have another glossary maybe when you're upgrading the system or going to the next level. But the keyword maybe would help there. Are there any more questions for Tim? at this point, because I think Dina has joined us. So it'd be nice to hear from her on her success using that system. Oh, Roger, you have your hand up. Hi, Roger.
Hi,
Good
Nigel.
morning.
How are you? I hope
I'm
you're
good.
well.
Glad to
Good.
see you after a long time.
Yeah, sorry about that. Been very busy.
Good.
Tim, how do you pick up new funders as they come along?
Yeah, great question, Roger. I think we're in a very fortunate position that I work for a company called IDOX. IDOX is actually a huge organization. They do lots of different things, actually. And the division that I'm in is the grants division. And we cover all of the sectors, whether it's health, education, local authorities. And we've got a huge team of researchers. So it's vitally important that the content is right up to minute and up to speed. And we don't just have this product, we have other products as well. And our lifeblood is the content. So it is vitally important that we bring on new funders, new funding programs. So we're always on the search for those type of funders. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we're very well known to a lot of funders as well. But we're always on the lookout for new funders. It's very rare that a funder wouldn't be on our system, but there are two reasons why a funding program wouldn't be on the system, and this is really important actually. To go onto the funding programs, a funding scheme must have a pot of at least £50,000. Now they might divvy that out in 500s or hundreds, but their total pot size must be 50,000. The other reason why a funder wouldn't be on there is if they have stipulated they do not want unsolicited calls. Um, from an integrity point of view, we will always abide by that. We will not put funders on there. I have had some requests from certain organisations saying, "Oh, it would really help if you could put them on," but where would that put us? Where would that? It's wrong, and we're not going to do it. So, two reasons, but we're always on the lookout, Roger, for new funders. It's in our interest. Why would we not?
Do you also have a pot of funders that don't want to be advertised that you might be able to call on? Should
No, it's not
you
something
don't?
no, it's not something we would do
So
that.
you don't use a brokerage kind of approach?
No,
No. Okay, that's fine.
thank
Okay,
you. Cheers,
thank you.
Roger.
Thank you. Any more questions for Tim? Okay, thank you, Tim, for presenting that really, really simply and breaking it down to us step by step. The recording and the session today is going to be really useful to people here and who would be visiting us. Visiting the video later. I'd like to invite Dina to say a few words before we move on to Evelyn's presentation, so we could, being mindful of the time and the next session that we have planned. Dina, thank you for
Hi.
joining us. Hi.
Hi, sorry I was late. Sorry about that. So I missed Tim.
We have the session recorded. I will send it to you. So I'm sure I would. I'm glad that we recorded it, so you can have a look at it at a later point.
Okay,
but thank
perfect.
you for joining us.
That's fine. My name's Dina. I'm from an organisation called Building Bridges, where we deliver workshops out to the community, ranging a whole different range of workshops, from arts to music, to gardening. At the moment, we are turning grey spaces into green spaces, where we get property from empty spaces on council properties or housing associations, and we turn it into growing patches for people who are living on the estate. So just talking with just going back to the funding portal. Is it Ealing for Fundraising that we're?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we've used it. I would say we've used it, I think, about 3 times, and we've been successful with our bidding from there.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and we've used it for match funding as well. I found it very straightforward. It had a lot of information on there, and the way it splits up into categories as well. I found really useful as well. I don't know what much to say about it. I just found it really self-explanatory and really easy to go through the website to see what matched our criteria at that point. Like I said, if we're doing gardening workshops, I would look for things that healthy eating, gardening, outdoor stuff. Um, yeah, and I just found it very useful.
Thank you, Dina. That was really uh, a good experience that you shared with us. In fact, this is actually a good study to understand that it's simple to use, and you have been successful. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, there was also local organizations on there as well, so
Yes.
which was really useful as well because you're able to meet with them and they're more open to meeting with you at a local coffee shop or so forth to talk to you
Okay.
about what they're expecting on their forms. And so that was quite useful as well because some of the more local organizations were able to meet with us in Ealing, which was really useful as well.
Brilliant. Yeah, I guess having the local funders fund your project also takes you one step closer to if you don't have a track record, to build that track record. I'm so sorry about that. Uh, I'd like to now invite Evelyn. Thank you, Dina, for sharing your experience using the portal with us, being mindful of the time. If Evelyn, you
Thank
have an
you.
issue, you sharing your screen, I'm happy to do it for you. If there's a network issue.
Thank you. I can have a go and see what
Okay.
happens. Thank you very much, Dina. I mean, obviously, if anybody has any questions for Dina, that's probably much more valuable than me just reiterating what Tim's already mentioned about the fact that you can use the platform to also help to find crowdfunding, other sources of funding to help with your crowdfunding campaigns. So has anybody got any questions for Dina? Because that's a live experience. Okay, well, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. I'm going to try and share my screen. Okay, what can you see?
We can see your
How can
screen.
Ealing4fundraising support your future Ealing crowdfunding campaign? So I just basically wanted the opportunity to be able to talk about this. It seems as if it's going to take a while. So basically, just to let you know that Ealing Council has got £100,000 that it put aside for the future Ealing Fund, and they decided to use it as a crowdfunding opportunity rather than a straight grant funding round. And there are some reasons why we've chosen to do that. But what we did do was make sure that we had the ability for people to find the match funding that's required through crowdfunding campaigns through actually being able to use the Ealing4fundraising portal. So it does mean to say that whatever your ambitions are, whether it be to sort of do the kinds of projects that Dina's been talking about, or whether it's actually about holding an arts festival, or whether it's about sort of doing some building, putting a water fountain in a park, whatever kinds of things that you are interested in doing, we were trying to maximise as a council, maximise the ability for yourselves to be able to achieve that. So basically, the opportunity was this: you could actually apply for a pledge of up to 10,000 for your project. Towards any capital elements of your projects. And that's because it's related to actually how the council funding was available to us. So it did mean to say that obviously for many of the projects that you would want to do, that there was elements of revenue that you might need, and you also would need to find some additional funding. And that's where being able to use the Ealing4fundraising portal was so useful, from the point of view that yes, you could actually put in what kind of a group you were, whether you were a registered charity or whether you you were just a community group. And you could search for the different opportunities that would become available to you using either the keyword terms that Tim has mentioned, or alternatively looking to see what which funders might actually be available to you. And one of the key things that I picked up from Tim was actually being able to save your searches by the deadlines, because obviously if you're running a crowdfunding campaign, you have to try and raise that funding within a particular time frame. And of course, currently we have got actually 12 different organisations come through for the round that's just we've just had the deadline for actually people being able to submit. So there's 12 sets of organisations that are going to be frantically now trying to find the other 50%, or even actually more than that, depending on the value of their projects, to actually find that funding. And they'll be able to use the portal to be able to actually do that, and use the deadline dates to make sure that they can actually get the funding in by the time that they've set for actually raising their crowdfunding. So I apologise, I don't seem to be able to get my screen to obviously move on. But I'm hoping that's given people a bit of an overview as to how trying to sort of enable those projects to be delivered is very much about trying to get as many different options available to you, so that you can go ahead and do the things that you know is important to the neighbourhoods and to the groups that you're supporting. Thank you.
Thank you. I will share your the slides and the presentation with the session notes, Evelyn. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't get it to work.
Oh, I didn't realize. I'm sorry. I thought you were giving us an overview. Are there any questions for Evelyn or Tim or Dina at this point? Yes, Shona, you have your hand up. You'd like to unmute.
Evelyn, hi. I wondered if there was going to be a second round of that future Ealing Fund, or were all the funds being allocated in this round that's just closed?
Well, we don't know how, but obviously we depends on how much of the money gets allocated. So if there is any money left over, then we will be trying very hard to persuade the council to continue to run a further round. We are going to be reviewing sort of various different things that the council at the moment is under review. We've had a change of administration, and they're obviously looking to see actually how we can make things more transparent and more inclusive, and actually sort of aligned to our particular priorities at the moment, which is creating good jobs, which of course many of these projects actually are helping people to get the skills and the experience to actually get better jobs, and things like tackling the climate crisis. So many of the projects that do get done by the community very much focus on those climate crisis issues, whether it's greening areas or whether it's actually sort of encouraging people to take more interest in biodiversity. And also many of the projects that you're involved with is very much about fighting inequality. So of course we're hoping that the council will consider putting funding aside and sort of enabling similar schemes to run in the future. But at the moment we can't promise. So it's very much a keep your ear to the ground, and please make sure that you're signed up to the newsletters, etc., that Ealing and Hounslow CVS will be sending out to you.
Thank you.
If anyone doesn't receive the Ealing newsletter, do send me an email and put you on the mailing list. We have another session on top tips for funding applications coming up on the 28th of October at 11 a.m. I will send out the information, the session notes for today, as well as the link to register onto the portal. The link where the recording would be saved on the website would be available to you by the end of today, and I'll also add in the other presentation which you didn't get to view, presented by Evelyn, with the session notes. I've put in a link in the chat, and I'd be really happy if you could add your feedback, give us your feedback on the session today, because this would help us evaluate the sessions that we run. Look forward to seeing you all on the 28th at our next session at 11 a.m. And thank you, Tim, Evelyn, Dina, and everyone who's made time for us this morning. And it was lovely to see you all.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you,
Thank you.
Yoga.
Have a
Thank you
lovely
very much.
day.
presentation.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Really
Bye,
good.
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.